an adult camera. I want to use it for fun. I want to use it for family. I want to use it to maybe put some things on YouTube.
All right. So you want video, obviously.
Audio, yeah, photo and video.
Photo and video. And are interchangeable lenses important to you? So you can use a variety of lenses?
Yeah, I think that'd be nice.
And what sort of things are you going to put on YouTube?
Because you got to have a few different ideas.
Okay.
One might be hitting the road and
You're welcome. Thank you for that. All right.
doing some travel videos, going to some different places.
Okay.
Maybe a bike hike, maybe a regular hike. Some of it could be one-on-one interviews.
Okay.
I think it'd be a lot of different things.
So, have you thought a lot about the circumstances under which you would shoot? Is it going to be low light? Is it going to be far away objects? Do you need wide? Do you need telephoto? Both? Do you want an all-in-one lens that you can simply carry around with you?
I mean,
or are
I
you thinking about
kind
different
of
lenses?
narrowed it down. I was doing some online research. I was doing some shopping around, and there might have even been one on sale. I was looking at the Canon T1. T6.
Okay.
And it came with a good
T1
lens.
is a really old one.
Oh, a
T6i.
Oh yeah, T6i. Yeah,
T6i
yeah,
would be a current model.
yeah.
Now they just brought out a brand new one. Let's come on over here and
Yeah.
take a look at it. So the T7i is the latest.
Okay.
Now it's the first of the digital rebels to offer real-time autofocus in video mode.
Mm-hmm.
It also offers 60p video, which makes it a lot easier to do slow motion in the camera, which is something none of the other digital rebels have.
Right.
It also offers time-lapse movie built into it. So if you wanted to do a day in the life of Bill,
The price, yeah, I don't know.
well, it's only 150 more than the T6i. And that faster
$749.
autofocus in video is going to make a big difference.
Yeah. And this, is this the lens for that camera? This is the lens.
No,
This
no.
is the lens. This
The
is just an
lens-
extra.
The lens that it would come with would actually be this one. The latest
I
version
like
of
how
this
they're,
one. The new lens
Canons are
is,
interchangeable with Canons.
well, that's true of Nikon, it's true of Fuji,
Yeah,
it's true of
yeah.
Pentax, it's true of every manufacturer
They're just not interchangeable.
with each other.
Yeah.
Correct. So you can use, on these cameras right here, you can use any of the Canon EOS lenses.
Right, okay.
Both of these have Wi-Fi.
That's
This
what I
one
like
has a
about
higher
them.
ISO and a faster processor, and it'll shoot faster.
Mhm.
They're both the same resolution, but this one does have the new split pixel, dual pixel autofocus, which in your videos is going to make a big difference.
Right.
Now, if you don't mind
Was there even
manually
a
focusing,
T5i?
there
Was
is a
there one?
T5i. Yes.
I think I was looking at, one time maybe I was looking at online, yeah, and I definitely could see the jump from the 5i to the 6i because of that Wi-Fi.
Now,
599.
right. This one is slightly lower resolution. Frankly, that won't make a difference in what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
The main feature improvements for the 7i would be that the HDR movie capability, the 60p video, there is digital image stabilization in the movie mode.
He may not know what HDR movie is.
HDR stands for high dynamic range, and one of the issues that people have with movies is sometimes the contrast is a little bit out of range of what the camera can capture. And so the idea behind HDR is it's going to reduce the brightness of the highlights and bring up the darkness, reduce the darkness of the shadow detail, so you can actually get detail in a very wide range of brightness in your
I
image.
totally get it on camera.
But let's say you take a photo or a video and the lighting's not quite right. don't you have some options in your fail-safe, kind of like, oh, well, when I get to the edit mode, maybe I can make some adjustments?
If you want to edit your video, then
Yeah.
you do need some, basically what's called a flat video contrast setting.
Right.
So there are picture styles in all of these cameras, but they're getting more sophisticated. So if you wanted to do post-processing in video, you're really going to be better off with the higher-end camera, with the T7i.
Right.
That offers you more options in terms of the post-processing. Post-processing is time-consuming, and if you're going to do videos, it's always best to try and get the light and the contrast range under control.
I'd like to skip the editing. Yeah,
Right.
just shoot the video. Boom.
Well, you
There's
probably
your
will
finished
have to,
product.
well, actually, I've known videographers who did that.
Yeah.
At weddings, they would come in and they would use the transitions that were built into some of the older VHS video cameras.
Right.
And this particular videographer had enough experience that he would shoot the entire tape, and at the end of the wedding, he would have a finished tape that all he needed to do with was duplicate. Now, he would take it home and he'd add in the bride and groom's names,
Okay.
a little
Oh, yeah, do a
visual
little
at the beginning,
okay.
because he was actually doing dissolves in camera, and he wasn't recording too long, so that
Yeah.
he needed to cut parts out.
Right.
And then he would just add in their names at the beginning and dupe it.
I was watching the price on these two models, that's for sure. T5i, T6i, T7i. I don't know. That is so new.
Yeah, that one we just got in, I believe, a week ago.
Yeah.
So that is the latest model.
Mm-hmm.
It does, as I mentioned, it does offer some significant video features that you would probably put to use.
Yeah. And it's got the Wi-Fi.
Correct, but so does the T6i.
Okay.
And there is a $150 difference. The T7i offers a different lens. So the lens that comes with the T6i is this one. The lens that comes with the T5i is a 7i rather, is a new design. And as you can see, it's the same focal length, but it is noticeably smaller.
Right.
It's also changed on its variable aperture too. So it's a 4.5 to 5.6 instead of a 3.5
Correct.
to 5.6.
Correct.
So he can get
No, it's
more.
an f4 to 5.6.
Yeah, he can
Instead of
still get
3.5.
more out of the older lens that comes with the T6i.
You will
that's
not,
the lens?
I will bet you $100 that you cannot tell the difference between 3.5 and 4. There's 1/3 of an f-stop's difference in terms of brightness,
Oh, is
and
that
that
right?
is the threshold of the human eye's capability of seeing.
Oh, well,
So,
it's the science.
there's no
It's the science.
significent difference.
It's the science.
Except that, right, that's the science of it,
Are
not
they
the
both
opinion.
STM?
They're
lenses?
both STM. The new one is STM.
I didn't know if the old one was. That's why I
The
asked.
old one is also STM.
Okay.
They're both STM. This one is a totally new design. You notice the rear element there versus the rear element that moves on this one. Personally, I would go for the new lens because typically when Canon reintroduces a lens, they've sharpened it up for the higher resolution sensors. So this basic design without the stepper motor is the same one that they've had for about the last 5 years. So when they bring out a new design, typically it's higher resolution in addition to maybe having some other features such as a smaller size when the lens is zoomed all the way back. Now, one of the things to be aware of is that when you're shooting with a true SLR, you're not going to see video in that eye-level viewfinder. You will only
Yeah,
see
you're gonna have
video
it on
on the screen on the back. Correct.
So
So the articulating screen flips out and twists. So that, for instance, if you want to shoot still images with it, and it would help if this camera, oh, it does have a battery in it. There we go. If you're narcissistically inclined, you can more easily do your selfies by pointing this that
That's
direction.
kind of cool. Interesting.
Yeah, we do buy cameras, film, visual.
So if you look at this particular camera, you notice it just caught Ralph's face.
Right. Oh, I see.
And so it will actually track him. Keep moving, Ralph, right There you go, back and forth. It'll actually track him back and forth.
Interesting.
Facial recognition, facial tracking, and the dual pixel focusing would enable it to focus much, much faster in real time.
Now the T6i has all that except for the dual pixel.
Except for the dual pixel, so it doesn't autofocus as fast.
Right.
The dual pixel does give you both phase detection and contrast detection autofocus. But the T6i and actually I think won't the T5i do facial tracking?
I think the T5i will do it too. Actually,
Yeah.
this does, and this is
Yeah,
the
that's a
T3i. So
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
yeah, it does face tracking and everything, and will do it, but it's a very slow process in this.
Yeah.
Everything
very
has
slow
gone quicker
autofocus.
since this one. So
Jim is here every day. He's here every
This is the 16 to 300. Now it's not huge for that focal length, but if we were to put that, let's say, onto this T5i, we still have a fairly compact package. It'll be a little bit more front heavy than the other, but we've got an actual lens that gives us a wider angle of view
I see.
than the 18 and a significantly longer than 55, so 6 times the magnification.
Interesting.
Now if I may make a recommendation, hold your left hand underneath the lens. Yeah, and then grip the camera. Don't bring your hand like this.
Oh, like this, okay.
Yeah, thumb up. Yeah,
Okay.
there you go. That'll give you a much firmer grip. Now bring your left hand out a little bit to here, and then as you press lightly on the shutter release, it will focus. So if you look at something in focus, you'll hear it beep at you.
I didn't proofread the title of that email the other day.
Should hear it beep at you. You're pressing lightly on the shutter release. Right there, yeah.
that button.
There you go.
And so, anyways, while he's getting this purchase and everything, this is pretty much the basic process that anyone will go through when they come to a camera shop, especially like Shilley's. They've been here since 1872, I think.
I've been here since 1872, Sonny. Don't you
Him himself has been here. So, no, seriously. Like I said, go to your local camera shop, whether it's Shilley's here in St. Louis or wherever you are, because you really need to come in and feel the stuff to know whether you like it. To get the expert people like,
I would have been surprised.
you know,
Eddie.
the expert people like Ed and everything, and get all the correct info that you need. Yeah, because I can do a new camera review every week and show you guys the features and everything, but without actually going and feeling it yourself, you're not going to know exactly everything that you need to know. So anyways, this is them buying it. I'm not going to show that. So.